All opinions expressed on any program are those of the producer and are persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of DCTV. All producers and guests appearing on programs provide information and opinions based on information they consider to be reliable. DCTV does not affirm the completeness and accuracy. All DCTV members agree to adhere to DCTV's statement of compliance and are participants in a community medium forum where they're exercising their freedom of speech.
Good evening. I'm your host, Karen Hudes. Welcome to the series on the network of global corporate control. Thanks to DCTV, to Carmen Stanley, Project Director, to Maurice Jackson, Studio Director, and to Crochet Starnes, Audio and Teleprompter. Today's segment is pre-recorded and is called Fencing with the Black Nobility. Last week's segment was called Government. Governments are corrupt liars. They refuse to tell you that we're in a different reality. This is about the Black Nobility's doomed attacks. On December 1st, 2019, at 3:54 p.m., I wrote, "Dear Healer, this is Karen Hudes. I'm using an email account that works kind of. I spoke to loved family member about mind control and they appeared to listen. The attacks against me were so severe I passed out, and then my hearing was affected. I had a hard time hearing. It sounded far away and I heard noises. This may be another turning point. I'm worried about my loved family member. Anything you can do to shield us is much appreciated." And then I love Karen, and this is the healer writing me back. "Sorry to hear. I will work on you and your family member. Much love." And this is the healer. The Black Nobility is on full display. So what? As one comment says, "I have a feeling that we are much closer than anyone thinks." Is this, yeah. They think that we're much closer. Here the Black Nobility said that a page with the graphic of the Black Nobility didn't exist. The Black Nobility is trying to erase the existence of the Black community. The existence of the Black community. The existence of the Black community the Black Nobility can be seen each time it covers up its existence through censorship. And there was a person who wrote as a comment, "Zionist Iowa corrupt judges, courts, police." And you can see that. I've got a link in the teleprompter. "Evidence beyond reasonable doubt. Zionist Iowa, when I have explained that it's the Black Nobility hiding behind the Zionists that are doing all the damage. Corrupt judges are not going to become less corrupt until the governments are no longer corporations and our Constitution is back." And what you see in the teleprompter is the graphic that no longer links to anything, and it says, sorry, that page doesn't exist. Why not try a search to find something else? That's the illustration of the Black Nobility. The Black Nobility was trying to hide the picture, and instead, by trying to hide the picture, they showed that they're trying to hide it. So something must exist if it's trying to hide everything. Many people in the critical mass got this point, as I could tell by Facebook's statistics. The numbers are much reduced, but still I can see the post was more popular than other posts. And the statistics are there. Performance for your post, 2025. Alice Castano has been keeping us updated about gold in the attempts of the Black Nobility to scare us. And this is an article that Alice Castano showed us. You can see it in the teleprompter. Large financiers and central banks are preparing for a new global economic crisis and a possible global war. On November 29th, Bloomberg reported that gold is the new obsession, East Europe's nationalist leaders. And then there's another article. Russia's central bank is buying up so much gold, its huge mines can no longer keep up with the Bank of Russia. And they've been financing the expansion of Russia's gold mining, but even this is no longer enough. The Black Nobility is on full display. So what? As one comment says, I have a feeling that we are much closer than anyone thinks to this remarkable change for the better. Word processing is a real challenge for me, not to mention the broken laptops. The fact is that what I can say up and running, it tells you that the Coalition for the Rule of Law and the critical mass of people who see what's going on are getting stronger, much closer than anyone thinks to this inevitable change for the better. Now I'm going to tell you about what it's like to be the overseer mandate trustee of the Global Debt Facility. So this is extemporaneous. We don't have to worry about reading from the teleprompter. Let me tell you, it was a very steep learning curve because I obviously, it was only in 2013 that I learned about the Global Debt Facility. Before that time, I did see some remarkable things that I couldn't account for. And these remarkable things that we all can't account for, yes, they still are evidence of the existence of the Black Nobility, even if we don't know that it's the Black Nobility that's doing all of these things. So what I was seeing was I was seeing corruption. And I was seeing that the ways to fight corruption weren't working. And the corruption was so deep. So the assassination of John F. Kennedy, so the Twin Towers, and the stories that we got didn't add up. And we found out the Warren Commission And the invention of the term, I'm sorry, what was that term? If you, well, I'll go back and tell you later. One of the things that it's like to be the overseer mandate trustee is that I'm not trying to be perfect. I don't have to be perfect. All I have to be is transparent, and by that I mean that I stand corrected. I interact with everyone. I don't know if you know what Myers-Briggs is. It's a well-known psychological exam to tell people what kind of personalities they have. And my personality is like an army general. So I'm extroverted, and I'm about as extroverted as you're likely to get. So that's one thing. And the other thing is truth, which is I follow truth. The other, if I observe something and it doesn't add up, I won't be swayed. So that's something. And then whether you're intuitive or not, or you want to learn everything by logic. No, I'm intuitive, and I happen to have a strong intuition. And the other is feeling or thinking. If you worry about what people think, as opposed to you look at logic. Now I may be mixing some of these categories up, but you can see I'm not particularly interested in what people are saying. I mean, yes, I'm interested, but I'm going to use my own judgment. I have to, and we all have to use and develop our own judgment, and we all have to use and develop our own intuition. So that's what it's like to be the overseer mandate trustee. Well, one of the qualities is you have to hold your own. You can't be swayed by military mind control. You just have to. And that was drilled into me by my Hungarian fencing coach. I learned how to fence in my early 20s. And what I learned from him, you've never seen anything like a Hungarian fencing coach to teach you not to flinch under attack, because it's drilled into you. It's any martial art. You know that that's your opportunity to score, and you also know that if you flinch under battle on the fencing strip, that's when you're not using your reflexes, and you're going to be scored against. So it was drilled into me, and it's very useful. One of the things that happened recently was I was duped for $800 by Pepco, who threatened, Pepco is the name of our energy company, who threatened to turn off my electricity. It was a very well-presented scam, which is to say that they found a way for me to transfer payments, and the company that was transferring payments, of course, they knew who the payments were going to, but they weren't going to account for them. And the people in Pepco who answered the phone, it must have been at least 100 people. Now, I don't know whether the scam was just Pepco allowing the scam and not combating it enough. They put a couple of sentences in their advertisement, watch out for the scam, but it's not very well known, so they do tolerate it. And so there you have it. I think it's the network of global corporate control that it likes to scam people. And they have so many different ways and resources to scam people. So that was one of the things that happened. And you know that I'm under pretty serious attack. My family wanted me to go into the emergency room. And I told them, I'm not going there. I'll use my medical team to help me. What happened was, you know, I've got a problem with my heart, irregular heartbeat. And then I had a cardioversion, and my heartbeat became regular again. This is recent, a recent positive effect. But then I started, just this past week, I passed out. There was no reason for me to pass out. That's when they wanted me to go to the emergency room, my family. And as I said, I'm not going to be shifting my control over my medical care to a hospital. I'm just not. I'm going to tough it out. And so just very recently, in the last couple of days, I don't want to account for all the aches and pains, but I got a pretty hard attack on my back. So every time I want to move, it really feels pretty bad. So that's one of the ways. That's negative. On the positive side, you realize you've got an important job to do. And one of the things that I really do enjoy doing is writing letters in response to the crooks and telling them, no, we already know with the statute of limitations, if the global debt facility, if the world's wealth belongs to us, then nobody can prove that it belongs to anyone else. Those claims are not valid. So that's one of the things that's fun. There are many other things that are fun. As I said, it was a very steep learning curve, but every step of the way was really wonderful because I know that we're not going to tolerate that anymore. Exactly when the corruption is going to switch, I couldn't tell you, but I do know that we don't want to give away all of our wealth for paper. It's just a scam. The central banks are just a scam. They owe us $2 trillion. That's a lot of money to owe us. There's no such thing as country debt anymore. So gaining that knowledge, that insight, that's been fun. And whenever I word process and the links get broken and, you know, for example, in this teleprompter, if I mix it up or if my contact lens all of a sudden is inside out and I can't read it, all of these things, they're accounted for by the Black Nobility. That's been the eye-opening. It's a lot of fun, and helping other people to see what's going on. That's about as good as it gets. So and so we've got this when we know that we are our brother's keeper, and we have this wonderful brain that unites us, and it's connected to the universe. That was something that that's where we are. It's a pretty potent place to be. And of course, the Black Nobility doesn't know what to do about that realization. What can they do about it? They really can't. And the part that's very devastating for the Black Nobility is that if the universe is all one, uh, they're going to have to toe the line with us. If humanity has a brain that's compassionate, then they're going to have to learn how to develop compassion. Um, so we have a monumental task ahead of us. It's not just that we've got to get rid of the corruption in the money. There's so much more that we have to do. We have to act like we're capable. We have to transform our world, and to be on the inside of transforming the world like this, and to be the overseer of university. Well, it's I can take what I say is really the case. Everyone can take credit for it. Now, somebody has to do the job of writing to all these crooks, and I do it. That's all there is to it. Somebody has to do it, and I'm that one, but there are others who could do it. One of the questions that I'm being asked is to give out interviews, and it's not really, I did in the very beginning, because I didn't realize how deep the corruption was. And then there were people who, what we call controlled opposition. And I never know whether someone's controlled opposition or not. There were some people that I worked very closely with, and then it turned out they were ultimately they were confusing people. So I don't, at this point, I don't want to have to decide and who's controlled opposition and who's for real. What I want is I want for everybody to work it out, for all of the people to get a sense of what's going on, and they will. You see how that's happening, and so we're our godly brain is functional now, and it's going to continue to function, and it's going to continue to make things better. I've been worried in a way because I wasn't sure if I was doing it right later. Now, I mean, because we're on some kind of a turning point, and it's one of the very hard things is when there's mind control, so much of it, then and you yourself are part of that. You yourself have to figure out what's right and what's wrong. So when you're in the middle of that, and you have to rely on yourself, and you have to rely on other people. And what I'm discovering is that people who were cut off by the mind control, they're somehow, I can speak to them. When I tried to talk to them a while ago, it was like they were allergic. They couldn't hear me. And now some of that is shifting. I can see that. So it's taking a long time, but that's the way it's coming about. And in the very beginning of the DC TV series, we showed you a picture of coming about, how things look one way, and then you have to push the tiller and sail in a different direction. I don't know when we're going to push the tiller. I think we're all collectively involved in pushing the tiller, And we will. Not sure when, but I was also going to tell you how it feels. I'll do that another time. You can see in many ways the evidence that I'm fencing with the Black Nobility. My posts get removed. The falsified counters are 2 examples. Still, I can carry on. This is because I get a lot of help.